Hello, folks, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe, to Love. Here to discuss the happenings of AEW Dynamite and including the Golem Show for Double or Nothing, which is taking place this Sunday. It's going to be a heck of a pro wrestling weekend, that's for sure. So, for starters, on Saturday, we got King of the Ring, King and Queen of the Ring on Saturday for WWE in Saudi Arabia. And then on Sunday in Vegas, we got Double or Nothing for AEW. So it's going to be an interesting weekend of pro wrestling. I'll try to do my best to review on both. I will likely have a King of the Ring review sometime Sunday, and then Double or Nothing review sometime Monday, depending how early, how late they are, but still, nonetheless, it will be fun. It will be a fun weekend, but alas, those are this weekend. Here was Dynamite last night. So, AEW Dynamite, the Golem Show for Double or Nothing, it's safe to say was a bit underwhelming. I would say. Golem Show, okay. We know Tony Khan and AEW does a great job with their pay-per-views. That's not the problem. Double or Nothing is lined up to be a very good pay-per-view. You got Malachi Black versus Adam Copeland. You got Christian Cage versus Swerve. You got Anarchy in the Arena. You got Mercedes Moné's first match in AEW versus Will Nightingale for TBS Championship. You got Tony Storm for Serena Deeb. You got Bullet Club Gold now announced versus Death Triangle for the Unified Trio Styles. That was made official last night. We got that. Some heck of performances lined up for Double or Nothing. But the problem Sigma that's been lined up the last number of weeks has been the story building. And it's been kind of reflecting in the ratings. Now, whether you're a ratings person or not, honestly, it's not something we have to hang on to, because there's these schmucks and these idiots in the community that live and die on the ratings based on pro wrestling. But I will say that if there's a thing indicative of the ratings, it's been the story building and the whole start and stop build of AEW. And the problem is, I think many people thought that with AEW going to more pay-per-views throughout the year, and I think many people, well, because originally they just did the big four, Revolution, Double or Nothing, All Out, and Full Gear. But then more adds on, Dynasty this year, Forbidden Door, All In, etc. Wrestle Dream last year. Nonetheless, so I think people thought that with more AEW pay-per-views, there'd be, well, there is less margin for error churning from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, leading to more consistent storytelling and better shows. And while the shows have still been solid, as far as wrestling and some aspects, there is those underlying issues where AEW needs to improve consistently with, story. I mean, Gabe Kidd, when he talked about in his interview, like last week, 2 weeks ago, either way, he talked about, well, if you want to watch cinema, go watch WWE, implying that, well, at least they attempt to build story and, promos and etc. With AEW, it's mostly good wrestling, and you pivot back to that CM Punk interview, and where he says, I don't know what AEW is, maybe it's for good matches, but I don't know. It just, one of these weeks, or some of these weeks, you're like, pivot back to that. But now, the last AEW Dynamite last night was a fine show. It was decent. There were a number of aspects I enjoyed. Swerve, Christian Cage. We got Malachi and Adam Copeland. Will Ospreay and the Kingdom. I thought that was very good. But the ending, I think, was a little suspect. Although it looked cool, it was suspect. And what I mean is, so the main event match was Bryan Danielson and Satnam Singh, which ultimately led to a DQ, and which was Young Bucks, putting a hit out on Bryan Danielson, and so they go Satnam Singh, who we know hasn't wrestled really on Dynamite in pretty much a long time. Now you wrestle Bryan Danielson. Now, the ending of Dynamite as Darby was banned from the building and he was driven to the arena by Tony Khan, who wasn't wearing a neck brace, I don't think. And Darby had a flamethrower. Albeit that was a cool ending, but the fact is, we've had this being the ending storyline for the last 2 weeks, and your top thing should be the world title. Christian and Swerve. If Swerve versus Nick Wayne, which was this match in and of itself, that was the main event, and we saw the Christian and Swerve stuff ending Dynamite, I would have been okay. But with Sonam Singh and Bryan Danielson being the main event, no disrespect to Bryan, but that, I don't know. But last, we're here to review and talk about stuff that happened on AEW Dynamite, and we shall do so. Last, before we do, thank you all for joining me. Before we get into Dynamite, be sure to click that subscribe button down there if you haven't done so, or if you're new to the channel, always helps. But yeah, so getting started here. Show started off with Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay for Trent Beretta and Roderick Strong. Two colliding matches that are going to happen on Sunday. We know Will Ospreay versus Roddy. That's a underrated match, which could be a show stealer. It's not Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson, but it's an interesting match. And then you got Orange Cassidy and Trent, who are continuing their feud. I mean, you can just look at those two feuds, and I mean, we did get a face-to-face at least of sorts between Ospreay and Roddy last week, but those underlying criticisms will remain of people like, why are these feuds happening? Anyway, so this match saw it here. For really good guys, really good bring it. So, finish the match here. So, the Undisputed Kingdom, of course, all of them involved, had to make their presence felt. So, Wardlow attacked Ospreay on the stage ramp area, and there's that. And then back in ring, Orange Cassidy was distracted, and it led to a big running knee by Trent, followed with a end of heartache by Roderick Strong for the 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, the Undisputed Kingdom picked on Will Ospreay. Roddy used his belt to bust open Will Ospreay, and they let him basically a bloody heap at the end in the middle of the ring after an end of heartache by Roddy. So there you go. Obviously, Roddy had to look strong a bit. He got the pin here and made a statement over Will, but Will's not losing to Roddy on Sunday. I don't think so. Although, again, I hate for the Undisputed Kingdom how their momentum has been just this not great, but yeah. Alright, next up, and by the way, if you're wondering, yes, I changed shirts because I got a haircut earlier and my irritation was up there you know, with my shirt. So either way, oh no. Next up, the Young Bucks. So after the attack from Darby Allin last week, they put out a ban on Darby Allin for this week from the building. So they had a bunch of security guards. They made up some flyers and saying this guy's a menace, this guy's this or that. So in any event, they went on with the rest of the show saying, come on, smiling faces all around, let's get to the next segment. Yeah. Players. Next up, Bullet Club Gold. They were out in the ring, and so here's what's odd. So, yes, they're the Unified Trios champions. But I still... Bullet Club Gold do not need to be holding those pink titles. Those are made for the Acclaimed, and just don't need to see them anymore. Nor do we need to see the Ring of Honor 6-man titles. We just need one set of titles, if that's too much to ask for. But so anyway, they had like a wagon of sorts of like the titles, and then, which albeit was kind of funny, but fact is, we see Jay White holding a trio title, Colin wearing a Ring of Honor 6-man title, and Austin Gunn wearing the pink title. It's, yeah. But their entrance and their theme is one of, if arguably, the best in wrestling right now. I mean, it's just, it's great to see. So, they talked about Pac and their issues with Pac. And at first, I didn't think about it, but after rewatching and seeing clips, I was like, there was a legit fan who said, while Jay White was cutting his promo, saying, who wrote this shit? Well, literally, there was a fan, and if that doesn't imply that Tony Khan needs to work on his storytelling and booking, you know, with AEW, or hire someone else, I don't know what it is. Anyway, so obviously this is going to amount to something. So, what do you know? We see Pac emerge on the big Titantron big screen, and he notes how 3 versus 1, that's not really fair. So he says he's got his friends and his amigos, so he'll introduce them to Bullet Club Gold. So then all of a sudden we hear music, we see Penta, we see Phoenix, who by the way looked jacked and looked lean, like probably the most in shape I've ever seen him. You know, we haven't seen him in a bit. I think he's only had one match in quite a while. So then we see Death Triangle reemerge, and then they try to ring, and then Bullet Club Gold scurry, and then Pac makes the intention zone for Double or Nothing this Sunday. Bullet Club Gold versus Death Triangle this Sunday for the Unified Trios titles. You guys think you're hard? Well, I guess we'll see. See about that. So, yeah. Death Triangle versus Bullet Club Gold. That's... Again, here's the thing. It's a great match on paper, but you can see this skepticism people will have is like, not really booked for this match. It's like Phoenix has been off for weeks. You know, we haven't seen Death Triangle in a match really ever. All of a sudden they return to face Bullet Club Gold, which is going to be a great match. But, yeah, where people are going to be annoyed or disappointed or have pushback. So next up, we got Hook versus Katsuyori Shibata versus Brian Keith. So apparently there's been qualifier matches on Rampage or Collision to decide who will face Jericho and this ultimately leading to who will fight Jericho, the learning tree for the FTW Championship at Double or Nothing. So then we get triple threat match here, and it ends in a double submission. Brian Keith tapped out while Shibata had a ankle lock, and Hook had the red room on Brian Keith, and there's that. Now all of a sudden we got a triple threat match at Double or Nothing. You see, look, again, Jericho, I love him for all he's done for pro wrestling. Always been a Jericho fan. This run currently is iffy, and the fact that he's carrying around a title that I don't think many people care for. You know, the FTW title, I mean, all due respect to Taz, but it's just, And then, so it's like if Hook doesn't win the title back on Sunday, then it's like, what are we doing? Seriously. Like, I don't know. It's like Jericho beats Hook at Dynasty, and then all of a sudden, in this triple threat, Hook wins the match back. I mean, title back. I mean, retires it. I don't know. It's, yeah. And, you know, I like Hook. Shabazz good in spots, certain areas. Brian Keith, still fairly new, but if you want people to care about this match, care about these folks, having these matches on Collision or Rampage where not many people are watching as Dynamite, your A show, which is supposed to be your A show, and then all of a sudden you have this on the Golem show before Double or Nothing, and yeah. Next up, Konosuke Takeshita versus Matt Sydal. This was pretty much as close to a squash match as you can get. Sydal, Takeshita, I'm a fan of both, but we can clearly tell with Takeshita facing Mox on Sunday, which should be a hell of a match. We know where this is going, and then so Takeshita won here, Blue Thunder Bomb, big forearm by Takeshita for the win. I was hoping maybe we'd get some bit of words, perhaps between Don Callis and Moxley. That was not the case. But, however, the match Sunday should be fun. Should be fun. Swerve Strickland versus Nick Wayne. So, it's kind of funny. Before the match, Young Bucks were in the back trying to talk about the posters or the flyers they have of Darby Allin. Kind of pestering Swerve, and Swerve kind of shrugged him off. It's like, alright, get him from a match, right? So, he has this match with Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne, of course, we know, is basically the son of Christian Cage in this patriarchy in a way. So, and Nick Wayne said on Collision that he can beat Swerve on his own. So, we didn't really see Luchasaurus or anybody else until after the match, and then really the big scene was after the match when Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Shayna Wayne tried to get involved, and then Swerve got the advantage, and then Christian was running to the back, tried to steal a car. Then we see Prince Nana again, 48, and then Christian almost backfires. We get a little bit brawl between Swerve and Christian in the parking lot, and then Christian scurries off. So, in a car, so. Look, Swerve should win. That's the thing. Swerve should win on Sunday. The thing is, Swerve's kind of poorly booked as a champion. Really, his first month, and it would not surprise me if Christian walked out Las Vegas new world champion. So we'll see. But it's like, yeah, Joe have kind of a short-ish reign, and then to give it to Swerve to have his moment, only to be a transitional champion of Christian, I don't know, but we'll see. Either way, I'm hyped for this match Sunday. So yeah. Well, it was a good match, and this match could have main evented the show, honestly. And I think people would have been more happier if this was the main event. So, Malachi Black versus Kyle O'Reilly. Malachi Black in a singles match again. I think everyone's happy about that. And credit against O'Reilly. You know, a guy who has some legs under himself on the AEW roster. We know a veteran. We know has been picking up some wins on Collision. So that's something. Credibility. But match is good here. You know, O'Reilly, he's very much a striker and submission specialist. He landed some strikes when they stomped at a big forearm on Black for a near fall. Black fired back with a big brainbuster, but only got 2 out of it. Then at the end, they had a big exchange. Black faked out O'Reilly, hit the end roundhouse kick, which folded up O'Reilly. And then 1, 2, 3, Malachi Black gets the victory over Kyle O'Reilly. And some efforts ahead of Double or Nothing. So then the arena gets a bit dark. And then all of a sudden we see from the ceiling, we see first we saw Adam Copeland on the big screen, and then we saw blood poured from the ceiling. It was probably something else, but in any event, we see blood spatter all over Malachi Black in the ring. Pretty much a tribute to Adam Copeland, Edge, in his Brood days from the late 90s. And then Copeland, in a sinister way, said at the end, you know, Malachi up here, be careful what you wish for. And then his face got all serious, and I mean, credit to the ring crew. And credit to the ring crew. Because I'm like, then they went to the commercial break, and then they were able to clean up whatever that was. And then, yeah, we're off to the next thing. So, next up, Toni Storm and Mariah May versus Saraya Narly Cameron. This match was okay, was solid. So, we know these four have been kind of feuding, particularly Stormer and May against Harley the last couple weeks. Now Saraya's kind of involved because it's a tag team match. You know, any event, this was a decent match. And really, the end of it was after the match with Serena Deeb. So, but it was a decent match. Clearly, I think everyone's favorite part was right before the finish when Tony laid his smooch on Saraya and then Mariah May laid the smooch on Harley Cameron. And then all of a sudden we see a Storm Zero pause driver taking out Saraya and then a Mayday on Harley. Followed a Storm Zero by Tony Storm on Harley. 1, 2, 3, and Storm and Harley get the win. You know, again, this act, Tony Storm, we know, the best thing going for the women's division. After, because Tony Storm has been playing mind games of sorts with Serena Deeb, so I think it was last week on Collision where Tony Storm legitimately wore the flag of Serena Deeb, her signature flag, as like a towel, which obviously got in the head of Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb got revenge here. You know, she laid out an attack on Tony Storm. She went out Boston or a half crab, walked in on Tony with a steel chair. Not only that, she knocks out Tony Storm with a heel shot. Quote, the shoe. So, funny enough there, as Tony or Serena Deeb stands tall, gets the last laugh before their what should be a good title match on Sunday. The thing though is it's the second most covered women's title match on the show for Sunday. Kind of feels. World Cup Gold then quickly talked about that triangle and the makings of the match on Sunday. So yeah, they had a graphic and should be fun for Sunday. Again, that's the things. Pay-per-views are okay. It's just the build-up is what it's annoying people. So, then we got Bryan Danielson for Satnam Singh for the main event. I didn't really care much for the main event. Sadly, you know. So, in any event, it was a DQ. So, as Jeff Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt. Now, I have not been seeing Jay Lethal being involved, so maybe that's a good thing. And then, so the Young Bucks came out for insult to injury, and then, you know, FTR, they were tried to make the save, but they were taken out. And then all of a sudden, we see Brian Nelson looked like he's going to be powerbombed or thrown into a table by the stage area. Then all of a sudden we see a SUV or ride make its way to the parking lot. And then Darby Allin heads out of the vehicle with a weapon, and then we see Tony Khan in the driver's seat dapping him up. And then we see Darby make his way to the stage, and he's got a flamethrower. A legitimate flamethrower to fend off. Well, Nick Jackson actually went falling through the table. I believe he got like puncture or something. He had some bad bruises on his hip area or his rib, but yeah. So, but fend off Okada, Jack Perry, and yeah. So, Anarchy in the Arena should be fun on Sunday, but yeah. Bit of an underwhelming Dome show, but it doesn't mean we aren't excited for Double or Nothing. It's just the build is not helping the pay-per-view as it should. But in the event, we got a hectic and fun pro wrestling weekend for you guys. As again, Saturday, King and Queen of the Ring. Sunday, we got Double or Nothing. Yeah, I'll try my best to cover both. But in the event, thank you guys all. So yeah, keep eyes open Sunday, Monday for reviews. But nonetheless, thank you guys all. Be safe. Again, subscribe if you guys haven't. If you're new, leave a like, leave a thumbs up. Thank you guys all. Be safe. I'm AEW Love. See you guys soon. Peace.